but it's not something we can just say, oh, it, we got to walk away. We can't. That's what brought us here. Blackpilling brought us here. Not doing anything about it brought us here. Not saying anything about it brought us here. And if we continue to do it, then we'll lose. We'll lose our culture and then eventually our country.
Nerdrotic.com.
To all the people who say there is no agenda, don't be so conspiratorial. Well, here's a little smoking gun for you from the Writers Guild of America. Queer Eye for Comic Books, LGBTQ plus voices on IP adaptions for film and TV from September 14th, 2022. About this event, this panel will bring together LGBTQ plus writers and film/television executives to discuss the process of adapting comic book IP for film and television with the focus on breathing life into queer characters, either those already queer, all right, that's fine, on the page, or reinterpreting legacy characters in a new queer light.
Wow. Notice the framing there. It's assumed that not only is this a good thing, but it will be done and is happening. Like, everything is done from the position that this is just right, we're doing it, and anyone that argues against this will be wrong. So it's essentially a struggle session. Anyone who disagrees will never, ever dare speak out about it.
It's modernizing. They don't think of it as identity politics.
No. And this should surprise no one. I mean, it's everything we've been telling you is going on, because you don't get as many things in films over the course of years that we've gotten without there being a clear agenda in mind. And but this is going on, and it's been going on for a long time. And this is why we continue to hold them accountable, because we're at a point now where you have to prove to us that it's not what we've been seeing. Yep. We don't have to be excited for anything. We don't have to support anything. This whole wait till you see it. No, fuck that. Wait till I don't see it. That's the whole thing. Wait till I don't see the thing that you have done to ruin every single piece of entertainment that we've gotten up to this point.
It's your job to sell us. We are the audience.
It's marketing 101. Make people want to go see it. It was interesting is it mentions about how, basically reappropriating characters, re-envisioning characters. And I think it ultimately comes down to, I think they get more money from people who click on like videos and articles talking about how they're going to do that versus when they actually do it. Like, look at the box office for Bros. I'm pretty sure more money was made on people just freaking out about announcing like characters of much bigger IPs versus the actual film itself.
You have to think about the impact that it has for a character, because you can't go, well, it's not a small change, because you're having an entire event simply for this reason. So you think it's important, you think it's a massive change, you value this kind of, and if you value it, then it must have some kind of impact. And so in that case, you want to reinterpret legacy characters in a new light, which means you're now changing that person in a significant way that you value. So it's no longer the original person. Because if it was a minor change that didn't really make any difference, then you wouldn't need to have an entire event about it. The fact that you are putting so much weight in this means that you will change this character to the point where it's no longer the original thing. And that's why people care about it. They want what they loved all along. Make something new, make an original character, no one will really care. It's the fact that you're coming for IPs and characters that people already love. Yeah. Like Willow. You wanted to come and you didn't just make new characters and do a new story, you actually came for the classic characters as well. And that's kind of the problem.
It is. And the problem of identity, like this whole thing is identity politics. So there's a Middle Eastern Writers Committee meeting. There is an LGBTQ plus writers meeting. There's a Native American Indigenous Writers Committee meeting. There is an Asian American Writers Committee meeting. There is a Latinx. How you like that?
Wow.
Writers Committee.
So is that going to be all just white liberal women? Because they're the only ones that seem to care about that.
All squares
Committee
are
of Black Writers meeting. So they're all segregated from different meetings.
Imagine if you were like, you're in a reservation, you grow up your whole life, and you're like, I'm a Native American, I'd love to write a story. I have this crazy story. It has nothing to do with all like being a Native American in reservations. You go to Hollywood, you get there, you're like, I'm gonna write a movie. You get to this meeting and they're like, okay, go to your Native American room and talk about Native Americans on reservations, and that's all you could talk about. Okay, next. Okay, you're a black guy, you can only talk about inner city police brutality and go to that room over there. Like, it's the most racist shit that these non-racists do. Just let people write movies.
Yep. It's self-imposed segregation.
Well, yeah, but you worked your entire life to get to Hollywood. They actually give you a place in it. They give you a position. They give you these roles. And you're like so pleased that you've actually managed to get to where you want to be. And then you find out actually wasn't for your talent at all.
Oh,
It was because they want you for a panel, something like this.
You're a
like,
pet.
That's got to the impact that will have on your psyche, your happiness, and your like self-confidence. It's like, I thought I'd made it, and it turns out they just want me for something as basic as this. And you even saw that they write this into their own shows. She-Hulk got her like wonderful position in a lawyer's office, and her first day was ruined because she realized I only got hired because I was She-Hulk, and it made her feel horrible. Like, you pitch this as a great thing, and actually even the people that you do it for realize this is horrible and don't like it, and it's making me feel sad. And the only reason they go along with it is because they want the money. You're bribing people to be basically attacked. It's a disgusting practice.
If anyone's read The Naked Communist in here.
No, but I
No?
want to.
All right. So you mentioned about like Marxism, and I wanted to read you 3 things from this book. I always recommend this to people that are trying to understand why does society look like shit. And basically, The Naked Communist, it outlines 45 rules for a communist takeover. And I'm going to read you just a summary of 3 rules, and then it kind of help articulate what all of this is. So rule number 21 is gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. Rule number 23 is control art critics and directors. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. So think of like how Rotten Tomatoes, all of the reviews are magically positive. And then to the slide that you put up, the little photo of that pamphlet, this one might upset some people, but rule number 26 is present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. And if you take like all of the roles combined, all of the rules combined in this book, essentially what they're trying to do is just break down the nuclear family, because if you can break that down, then you have a broken community, which is easier to control. And if people are always getting their morality and their standards from movies, it kind of all makes sense.
Amen. Absolutely. And it's what leads to the downfall of all societies is when you see this tremendous drop in moral principles, that's when all societies typically fall.
Wow.
So this book, was it out 1958?
Yes.
This is the same book?
Yes.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yes.
Because I was like, this must be something new. No.
It's almost like their game plan has not changed for decades and decades and decades.
Right?
Look at Yuri Bezmenov that interview he gave. It's all the similar tenets for how to break down societies.
Right, and it's small incremental shifts, because they couldn't have done this overnight because people would notice. But like an easy point of reference is if you just go back and listen to music from like the 1940s and you listen to lyrics back then compared to the mainstream music that we have today, it's all degenerate. That happened over time. It's just small incremental shifts to get us to where we are now, where you just promote all this nonsense and people don't pay attention to it.
It's the frog in the boiling pot. You just slowly turn up that heat.
Exactly.
Desensitization.
Yeah. So this is more of like exposing what these Marxists are doing, and Rules for Radicals is essentially the playbook for all of these Marxists. If you look into communism, you'll see that like with the Western civilization, it's founded on Judeo-Christian values, and the Rules for Radical book, the guy that wrote it, he dedicated that book to Lucifer. Yeah.
Wow.
As the first radical.
Not hiding it at all.
Well,
No.
and I highly recommend like Razor Fist's Hollywood Was Always Red, and you know one of the things he points out is Hollywood very successfully convinced a lot of people that the whole commie scare was just it was bullshit, and it wasn't. It turns out they were always red, and what there was in Hollywood before was there was a counterculture to that. There were people fighting it within Hollywood, but they have slowly and systematically lost power. They're just gone now. They're just gone, and now we're getting this full blown, it's full blown DEI. It's Marxist, and it's bullshit, and it's killing our culture. And ultimately, that's what the activists want. And what's dumb is the greedy, selfish, short-sighted narcissists running Hollywood are ensuring their own demise. You know, you think they would have some self-preservation, but they don't, because they see the immediate reward of a virtue signal. because ego is the currency in Hollywood, especially when it's just so many rich people. They have to have an alternate currency, and it's power and ego, and it gets pretty fucking sick.
It's not just Hollywood either, though. If you think about social media, like, it's all driven off attention. It's all ego, essentially. Likes, retweets, comments is literally just people post things specifically. And one of the reasons that people post things which are either one way or the other is because it gets more likes and retweets. And then they get rewarded for it, and so they do it more and more extreme, and that just encourages on. And even the basis of society, you get down to the point where everything is deemed to be about kind of power dynamics. Who has the most power? Like, it used to be pretty normal that one of the ways that people would meet like their future wife or husband would be at work. But now this has been kind of done that you can't just do not date at work, because people will start talking about the power dynamics of, well, is he your boss? Is he someone higher than you in a company? And so now it's just everyone just stays away from it. And I've always thought one of the reasons that you find, like if you take Willow, the prince in that, is you would not consider him to be a masculine character at all. He's just put in that kind of position. But it's because if he was actually acting like a man, they think that's a power dynamic. They think that's an oppressive, masculine kind of dynamic on the rest of everything else. And so they reduce one side because that makes him weaker, and then they make the other side more masculine because they think that's what power is. Every single relationship is deemed to be between an exchange of who is more powerful and who can oppress the other one. And as long as you come at these things from a position of who is oppressing someone, you'll always end up talking about power rather than what things used to be based on, which was family. It was the interrelational people, and I will do this because it's good for me, it's good for you, it's good for society, and if we all get together and do things that we may not want to do them, but they will improve all of us together. If I improve myself day by day, in the future, I'll contribute more. And everyone used to help each other based off.
And what you're talking about, Disparu, it's actually inherently sexist because it actually puts male power above female power.
Yes.
It's like you're actually different, but equal. But the system is like, oh yeah, let's promote these women who are acting like men and make men weaker.
Because it led to different conclusions. But if you go for the point that everyone should end up at the same place, then you have to make everyone the same, rather than thinking that it's like different. Have different strengths, so we'll naturally end up in different positions.
But they're doing it so half-assed. You know, Eric brings this up all the time. When it comes to tokenism, you're automatically saying that the established character is the white established character, and the fact that you have to give Captain America hand-me-downs or Miles Morales hand-me-downs from Spider-Man in of itself is inherently racist. And that's a conversation a lot of people are just not ready to have. And it depends on, you know, like Eric saying it probably means a lot more than me saying it, but like it's still a fact. It's still a fact. And that's the soft bigotry of low expectations, and there's a soft sexism of low expectations as well.
And it accomplishes two things. If you delegitimize female power, it also helps with breaking up the family, because what do you need for a strong family is like a strong mom. You need that female energy present.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Hey, if you like what we do here at Nerdrotic Daily, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you could do that with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.